I happened to speak to my son, who is also into the Fintech area. And I mentioned that I would be inaugurating this conference. And the first thing he told me was a word of caution. He said, "Dad, please don't speak anything on Fintech because you are outdated." This is the first thing that he told me. And he said, "Don't begin your inaugural address by saying, Mr. So-and-so, chairman of this thing, Mr. So-and-so on the dais, etc., etc." We don't even call each other as, friends or this thing. We call each other as bro. So he said, "You are not part of the bro culture. Look, accept it. So please don't try to mention or speak on Fintech as such. We are there to speak about it." And I do take his advice very, very seriously. So I thought, okay, let me not talk about Fintech. Not that talking about Fintech is very difficult, it is not. After all, you have Google. And if you Google, you can get any number of presentations, you can get any number of articles. You can mug up a few, come here and, rattle it out. It's probably the easiest thing. You can be a master of everything without really knowing anything. This is what the world has come to. Well, when I was traveling to this conference, or the summit rather, the first thing that came to my mind is, in the last couple of decades, has life really become complicated? This is the question which I posed to myself. The reason being because most of the languages that you people, or I'm supposed to address you as guys, that's what I was advised, speak. Unfortunately, it just goes over our heads. This is the unfortunate part that we find. Well, when I was in college, life was very straight, simple. You had three options. The so-called quote-unquote better students would opt for what is called the maths, physics, chemistry. The slightly even more better ones would opt for biology. And of course, the rest will go for commerce. And the last, of course, would go in for arts. This was a very stratified setup which was existing at that point of time. And life was very, very easy. You're good in maths, you go take what in Kerala we used to call as a first group. You hate maths, you go into the second group, provided, of course, you are smart enough. And then, of course, the rest. And life was very much laid out, in the sense that you take the first group, you do engineering, and either, yes, the concept, I had never heard the word startup at that point of time. I don't think anybody of our generation has even heard about it. And maybe some of us would have to be told what exactly is a startup. They really don't know. So, this is the ecosystem, or this is the situation from which most of us grew. And when one looks back for the last maybe 30, 40 years, life has changed. And I would say life has changed for the better. Today, if you look up the opportunities which are available to the youth, it is not very stratified. It is not very straight. And your academic qualification is at best only a passport. You can print it in your visiting cards so that somebody will not think that you are not, you're not quote-unquote educated. That's all. Beyond that, it is all today a matter of your entrepreneurship. It's a matter of your innovation. It's a matter of your intelligence. It's a matter of your daring. All these rolled into one. And this is exactly where startups have succeeded. Startups have failed. Startups may have failed maybe because the idea was either not correct or it was ahead of its time. I would not say it is outdated. It was ahead of its time. So when one looks at the transgression from 20 years back to the system which exists today, we find that there is a tremendous change. The financial advisors of the olden era had a very straight job. They had accounts, They were supposed to do audit, you were supposed to file taxation, etc. But today when you look at what exactly is happening in the financial ecosystem, it's a mixture of finance, it's a mixture of technology, and when we mean technology, it is not necessarily only fintech. There are also multifarious interdisciplinary, I would say, coagulations which come into the sphere. And fintech happens to be one of them. I really wanted to find out what exactly is the seed of an ecosystem. And the first thing that I found out was fintech is not something new. We have all been using an ATM card, but one never realized that at the back of this, the technology which was being utilized, it may be a very simple technology, but all the same, this technology also happens to be a part of the fintech. It's evolved, it's progressed, and today you have multifarious platforms available. You have blockchains. You can sit here and transact with any country, anywhere in the world. You can send money. You can book a ticket. You can make the payment, everything. And all things has been possible because of an integration rather than keeping it separate in watertight compartments as used to happen maybe 20, 30 years back. This is indeed a welcome change. People like me may find it very difficult to understand at sometimes, so you'll have to bear with us. So if some of us do really ask stupid questions, not in this summit, we can't afford to. But then, when we meet you individually, suppose we ask some stupid questions, please bear with us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me wish the summit and all of you a very useful, fruitful, and enjoyable one-day program. It's all lined up, and you're going to have lots and lots of sessions where there is going to be, discussions on fintech, technology, and a lot of heavy stuff coming in. But please do take time also to sort of, to go out once you are in the city. If you don't happen to be from Cochin, have a look around. And I wish this function all the very best. I would like to thank Mr. John Thomas for inviting me for this inaugural function. He's been a good friend. And we happen to, of course, have flats in the same building, though I don't live there. So, my best wishes to all of you. Hope you have an enjoyable day. Thank you very much. Thank you.